Hello and welcome to Magnetic Rise. I am your host, Cikizwa Vilakazi. This is the podcast where we uncover the real stories behind scaling journeys of B2B companies. We talk about the highs and the lows, the victories and the setbacks, and the strategic decisions that have helped these businesses rise, scale, and thrive. Today, I'm so thrilled to be joined by M. Curtis McCoy, an accomplished entrepreneur who has empowered countless individuals and businesses through his work. Welcome, Curtis.
I appreciate you, Siki. Thanks for making me sound like a rock star.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us. It's so awesome. I'm really excited about this conversation. To start, could you share a bit about what you do and your journey getting to where you are today?
Absolutely. So my background, I owned a cosmetic medical laser clinic, a company that manufactured bioidentical injectable research peptides, pharmaceutical peptides, at a Christian clothing company. I've always launched different businesses to solve problems for people. But the way that I got into personal branding was we had a telecommunications business where you've probably heard of Best Cellular. We had over 250,000 customers a month hitting the website. So it built some serious traffic, but nobody knew who the owner was, I had any clue who I was. There were people walking in the retail store. We had a guy one day, a competitor had started a terrible rumor about me. He's telling people the owner of Best Cellular, he's saying that I was this terrible guy and stuff. I walked into his store to talk to him and asked him if he knew anything about Best Cellular. And he started sharing this horrible rumor about the owner of Best Cellular. I said, yeah, did you know that owner's a racist and we won't let Mexicans into his store? Like, what? So he went on sharing all this crazy rumor, not realizing that he was talking about me to me. And so this is probably back 2016. And I realized at that point, if you don't create your personal brand, whoever talks the loudest and has the best story is the brand that's going to stick. So I got into learning about personal branding as I was running these other companies that we'd built. And then as it went on, I started realizing there's more and more people, there's so many business owners that are working hard to get their name out there, or they're building a really good business, but nobody knows who they are. So if you change industries, if you change brands, if you buy a different company, you're starting from scratch again at the beginning. So personal branding is incredibly important. And now I'm full-time into, Newswire magazine and Amazon Fire TV, and just doing stuff for helping people expand their brand and reach massive audiences.
From your story, it sounds as though that moment where you had your reputation ruined, it called for you to be resilient in what you were doing. How do you define resilience, and how has it shaped your approach to leading and growing businesses?
Let me go off on a little bit of a tangent there. So when I heard this, I'm trying to figure out why we were losing such a massive portion of our Hispanic population. We had a lot of people coming in from Mexico. They were working in the summers in the fields and stuff, out in the orchard near one of my retail stores, sending money back home using our mobile transfer service, using the international calling service. So it was a great business, and we had a lot of friends. My best friend was born in Mexico. I'd gone to his daughter's quinceañera, and so as I had heard this rumor, I drove up to this other retail store with a plan of, I'm furious, thinking, okay, this is not true. I'm mad that I'm hearing this rumor. And so my thoughts on the way up there are, do I grab this guy by the neck and drag him over the counter, let him know this is not how we do business? But then as he was talking, the more and more I listened to him say, I realized this is not his fault. People do some shady business, and people have some crooked marketing tactics that kind of stink to be on the receiving side of, but completely my fault that I had not built the brand. And so people cannot do business with you if they can't find you. They can't do business with you if they don't know you.
That makes sense. From your experience, what are the key factors then that help a company grow effectively in a market like what we have today?
So I deal more with personal branding than company branding. But the biggest thing you can do if you are, say you're an author, an entrepreneur, podcast host, motivational speaker, some type of a coach or business leader that's trying to get your name out there, one of the most important things you can do Do you mind if I share some tips on what you can do as far as a podcast host? I know there's probably other
Surely.
hosts listening to your show. So
Surely,
a
yes.
great way that you can start monetizing your podcast is when you're bringing on guests who are, other experts, maybe in a field that you are not an expert in. One of the coolest things is you can take that knowledge and share it with your audience and use that as a way to not only help your audience, but also drive additional traffic. The quickest and easiest way you can do this is like me and you doing this interview right now. I know you guys you're already well on your way as a podcast, but if you're a new podcast host listening to this podcast, the Magnetic Rise podcast, one of the easiest things you can do, get on, do the interview, upload that video footage to up to YouTube. From YouTube, once it's finished publishing, scroll down, read the view, or click the section that says view chat transcript or view transcript at the bottom left. Click that. Now it'll pull up the transcript on the right-hand side of your screen. Copy the entire transcript from the whole chat, from the whole podcast there. Then go to ChatGPT or whatever your favorite AI platform is. Type in, this is a interview of the guest name. So interview of M. Curtis McCoy on the podcast name by host name. So now that'll help the AI figure out how to correctly identify each person in the podcast. Then you tell it to, from that transcript, tell it to format the transcript using proper spelling, punctuation, grammar, capitalization at the beginning. So it'll format that transcript into a whole, nicely written transcript. From there, the next step you say, you'd ask it to write a article outline for a search engine optimized article about the guest's name. So if you're interviewing me, it'd say write a search engine optimized article about M. Curtis McCoy from this transcript. Yeah. So now it's got the outline. From the article outline, you tell it use the article outline and write a full SEO friendly 2,000 word article. So then you take that YouTube video, and instead of now, podcast hosts a lot of times send traffic to a platform that they don't own. You hear new podcast hosts all the time say, find my show on Spotify or Pandora or go to YouTube, but that's not, so you're doing all the work to not actually own any of the traffic. But if you tell them you have yourwebsite.com/M. Curtis McCoy, now you embed the YouTube video at the top of that landing page. Under the page, you post this entire search engine optimized article linking back to the guest page. So now when somebody Googles that guest, if somebody gets on, they search for M. Curtis McCoy, they happen to find your podcast. Now the viewers get exactly what they're looking for. They can see the video interview of the guest that you just hosted, plus a full search engine optimized article that's helping traffic land there. And because the viewer is not bouncing off the page quick, they're getting on reading this, maybe they're listening to the video for 20 minutes. Okay. So Google sees, okay, this is the authority on that guest. So now instead of them going on and finding a different page, they're landing on your website. So now you start building up traffic like that. Every new guest you're helping the guest, but also driving a bunch of traffic to your site. So if they never heard of your podcast name, they're finding you through these different guests that you're having on. Then the way you monetize that is at the bottom, having a call to action, or somewhere in there, having a call to action where people can click to sign up for your product, service, whatever your solution is. So now you're not trying to create a market. You've got a market that's already looking for what your podcast guest just covered, and they click that. Now you can end up monetizing that a whole lot better than trying to hope that you make $1 per 1,000 impressions or whatever as far as the podcast advertising goes.
That makes sense. Sticking sort of on that topic, how can people use earned and paid media to build and drive their brands? And what's the right balance between the two?
That's a great question. So my business is built around paid media. So Newswire magazine is a paid media feature. Being interviewed on Amazon Fire TV on our show called Success, Motivation, Inspiration, again, is paid media. If you're listening to this right now and you're just getting started, I would tell you, do not invest in paid media. Don't spend money on advertising. Don't spend money on marketing until you have built up enough traffic from earned media that you know that you can convert the traffic you're already bringing in. Too many people that are selling paid media get on and tell you, just spend money with me and I'll help you. If you spend enough money with me, I can help you get your brand out there. But if you're receiving traffic that is not converting, you're just wasting money. So hey, if you're listening to this thinking, man, I'd love to get featured on Newswire magazine, don't even reach out until you've got the traffic already. Let's say once you've got a landing page, this would be my target client. When you've got a landing page where your product, service, solution, maybe it's contacting you, but if you've got a good conversion rate on that, where when people are hitting that page, they're reading through it and they end up buying, but you just don't have enough traffic yet. So the traffic you get converts, but you don't have enough traffic yet. Or if you can boost that traffic and boost your revenue, that's when you start spending money on paid media.
What trends or changes do you see having the biggest impact on branding and media strategies in the next couple of years?
I mean, there's so much going on right now. One of the things with AI, talking about, I was just giving you a way to quickly and easily generate content for your podcast website where you're actually generating relevant search traffic. You'll hear a lot of people say that, you have to be careful because Google doesn't like AI, or it'll ban your page if you won't index your page if it's written by AI. Search engines don't care whether it was written by a human, whether it was an outsourced, employee in another country, whether it was written by AI, or whether you had an alien fly down and write it for you, as long as it's the best solution to the person's, the best answer to the person's question. So I think if you use the correct format, you get out of what you put in. If you ask ChatGPT to write you an article and you post this junk article with the weird filler words and filler phrases and just the awkward stuff that ChatGPT writes, and you're not getting traffic, that's not AI's fault. That's your fault for not going through and tuning up that basic draft that, to make it where it's really the best solution for the question that somebody's asking.
Learning how to use your resources to their best to get the best outcome.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I mean, you get out of it what you put in. So really doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're putting in the work, doesn't matter if you hire a some kind of a VA to write the articles for you, or if you're using ChatGPT, but you just need to go through and tune it up and make sure it's really nice.
You sound very, very experienced, which I didn't expect any less. But now I actually wonder, do you have a favorite example of a client or story of yours that successfully used branding or media strategies to achieve standout success? And also, what lessons can other people learn from this experience?
Yes, I'll tell you about a young guy that he's a motivational speaker. He was just getting into motivational speaking a couple of years ago. You can actually find him on social media. His name is Dylan Smith. I think this handle is D is for dyslexia. But Dylan reached out wanting to be featured on the cover of Newswire magazine. We talked, and at the time he was just getting started, not really making any money yet speaking, but he was planning on hosting his very first event. And so as we talked about it, I'm saying, I don't know if this is a time for you to spend money yet, because if you're not already converting traffic on your site, there's a good chance that you're not going to make anything off of spending money on advertising. But he said, well, we've got this event coming up. It was like a week after we published the article. And he was trying to get his first event, wanted to really sell it out and really launch himself into being a well-known motivational speaker. And we hosted this event. We put out the article. He had over 100,000 readers on his Newswire magazine article in the first week that we published it. So 100,000 people that would not have heard about him, now they're searching for relevant search terms, found his article in Newswire magazine, and then ended up from that article, they're following him on social media, connecting to his website, buying tickets. And so when he launched this first event, he called me the next night and he goes, hey, Curtis, I was like, hey, what's going on, buddy? How's everything going? He said, you just cost me $800. I'm like, what do you mean? And he's trying to sound irritated. So the being advertising with us, the feature is a whole lot more than $800. What do you mean I cost you $800? He said, listen to this, man. He goes, when we launched this first event, he said there were so many people, it was standing room only, packed in the event, just people flooding in there. And there were so many people walking up to the door trying to buy tickets. Said for 15 minutes, we're turning people away, telling them they couldn't get in. And then pretty soon, his one of his partners or whoever it was had said, man, if there's this many people, keep packing them in. If we get fined, okay, cool. We'll make enough from the event, the extra ticket sales, that'll be okay to pay the fine. So I guess he said the fire marshal showed up and fined him $600 or $800, whatever the amount was. Wrote him a ticket for this hundreds of dollars. But he was selling tickets to the event and had so many additional people crammed in there that $800 was something he was happy to pay because he'd made so much more in ticket sales. So that's one that's kind of cool. We've had a lot of them that have got some massive sales off that. Tawny Lee, she hosts the Healing Conference. It's another conference, but she had a couple people at our last event, I guess 2 events ago in Denver. A couple of ladies had Googled another conference, ended up accidentally finding, because of the SEO we had done, accidentally finding the Newswire magazine article and her website, scrolled through, bought tickets, ended up at the event because of the web traffic. So they were looking for a different platform, did not even know about Tawny Lee's event, ended up getting on there, read about it. The school bought tickets, showed up at the event, and so she ended up with accidental customers who weren't even looking for her that bought tickets.
It's crazy how big of an impact knowing how to use your media resources can have on your businesses, on your personal endeavors, anything.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Yeah. As someone who has worked with a lot of leaders, by the sounds of things, and has built their brands, what qualities or habits do you then think truly separate good leaders from great ones?
I'll tell you what separates people from not only leaders, but people who do a phenomenal job and really benefit from their personal brand versus people who are constantly trying, throwing money at it, and pretty soon they give up and they go back to work for a regular job. The people who really crush it are somebody who is solving a problem for their target audience and focusing more on the solution and making sure that you are the best possible solution, like Tawny Lee's website, where somebody's searching for a different product, had no clue she even existed. But as they found her article, they start reading through it. Wow, this really sounds like what I was looking for. This actually sounds better than what I was searching for and couldn't find. So if you're solving problems for people and helping people, focusing on user first, that's a massive thing. It really helps with business. And then a problem that a lot of people do with web design, launching a new site, they're trying to figure out how to market a product. So if you've got a product or service that helps people, it's a good thing, it's a good solution, it's a good deal. You want to make it to where it's easy to get people to do what you want them to do. So if your website has 4 or 5 different options on the page, click here to sign up for our newsletter, click here to buy this product, click here to download my free ebook, click here to get this guide, click here to watch my YouTube video. Too many options, people will just leave. So make it to where everything on each individual page drives them to what you want them to do and make it easy for them.
Cool. Okay. That gives you a lot to think about. This conversation has actually been very valuable. I actually really enjoyed how your different insights gave us advice that we could easily turn into actionable insights that we could use with growing our businesses. And I'm sure our listeners will then take away a lot from this discussion. But before we wrap up, I always like to ask our guests one final question. If you could leave our audience with just one piece of advice for navigating the challenges of growth, scaling, anything like that, whether it's in a personal capacity, a business capacity, what would that piece of advice be?
Stop trying to create something new. Stop trying to create an audience for something that people don't need. Solve the problem. People can't do business with you if they don't know you.
Not many people tell you that, hey? It's all about innovation.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much, Curtis. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on Magnetic Rise. Where can our listeners connect with you or learn more about your work?
So if you're looking to do business with anybody, any type of a personal branding expert, the most important thing, search that person on the internet. Google them. If you Google M. Curtis McCoy and I don't show up at the top of the page, the top of the first 10 pages, I'm probably not the guy you should do business with. So that being said, search me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, whatever your favorite platform is, YouTube. search M. Curtis McCoy, send me a message. I love Instagram. It's been one of my favorites right now. So message M. Curtis McCoy on Instagram, and we'll get connected and see if this is something that works for you.
Well, awesome.
Appreciate you
There
for having
you
me on the
have
show.
it. Yes, thank you. That's it for today's episode of Magnetic Rise. To our listeners, don't forget to subscribe, share this episode rather, with your network, and stay tuned for more inspiring stories and insights to help you rise, scale, and thrive. Until next time, keep rising and thriving.